So I've got a couple other updates. Another idea I had thought of is I'd like to weld an inch on each side, because I got to thinking, when I'm down on my knees and maybe there's not a whole lot of light and I'm sitting there trying to line up the hole, I imagine that that'd get kind of annoying and frustrating. So I thought maybe we could set the actual spot where it stops, where those holes are going to line up. So all I have to do is just set this thing underneath it until it hits those spots, and then I'll know exactly, I'll be set and the holes will line up with where those are. And then to help with the banging and the scratching that would happen against this bottom piece, I found these guys right here. This is just some kind of interlocking product that just happened to be 1 inch by 1 inch, so that'd be the perfect size. It's got adhesive on one side. It'd be the perfect size to just set on top of that piece so that this thing can pound against this and not be scratching the metal. And over time I can just replace these. And then at the same time, this bar, I just imagine that this is the part that swings down. I just imagine that you would weld it in this way so that the open holes aren't facing the floor. But I got these gripper bars. They're basically just like an adhesive padding. They're 1 inch strips there. And I could just put one on either side underneath so that there'd be some padding. When this thing swings down, it'd actually have some padding on the bottom of it. And as this wears out, I can replace this as well. But maybe that might be helpful as far as the measuring goes, to know that there's going to be a little bit of padding there. And then this is just an additional note, basically just saying that as long as you have this thing centered, then you really should just be able to go off of the 50.5 measurement up here. And then as long as you're at a 35-degree angle and you center it, then that should get us where we need to be. I'll have this whole piece of paper here to give to you. Also, I had another note up here in case I did powder coat it. I didn't know how that might affect needing extra space when we get those plastic washers. I didn't know how much extra space might be needed to be thought through for if it was painted or powder coated. Now here's an additional thing. This is a totally new thing. Basically, one thing I learned is that I'm gonna have to have my speaker up on this speaker stand. So my gear, the actual audio equipment that I needed to have a way to set it on here. Well, this actually is a tool used in videography where this clamps on here and you can unscrew this and actually make this be any shape that you want. And so I had an idea to make a piece of steel that would fit, make my own little shelf. And so I'd like to cut a piece of steel this size, and you'll see that I've got this threaded here, this threaded spot here. So that's what this is. So what I'm wondering is, one, I'd like you to cut the steel regardless, but I'm wondering, can you also drill a hole that can be threaded in here so that I can fit this piece in here? And if not, maybe there's a place locally in Tulsa that I can take it to and they can drill it through to be able to thread that hole. But so what that would do is that would let me set this thing, see how that's got a screw there, so it would let me set this thing on top of here. So now I'm screwing that in. So the idea is that I'll be able to screw that in to this. So there's the idea right there. I'll be able to set this stuff on that little plate there. And so that's one additional thing that we had not talked about yet. I was going to see if we could cut this piece as well. That's all the updates I've got so far, and then I've got the additional screws here for actually using bolts on that one swingable piece instead of the hinge pins. Anyway, I just figured it'd be good to go ahead and give you those updates sooner than later, and you can give me some feedback on that.